feel like he still delivered the goods. Now the question is, can Jackie perform to the same level? Yeah, on paper he's a better core, but he plays differently. And the Deuce is already out showing for it, and they're already looking for a bit of a rotation out here.
They have not been scouted out either. Scouted out by the observer ward. Tower will go ahead and hit it, so SMG should have the knowledge that they are on that high ground. Pings are coming out for that cliff there, just kind of letting them know they think there's a ward being placed. Boom will try to relocate. G still sticking around that tier 1, just hugging the tower. Not sure if they should move in. But you do have a very strong level 1 timing here with SMG. Will be forced to de-ward that observer ward immediately. That'll be it though. They won't try to force the fight. It'll be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties and a very nice even start for either side.
And that does force a lot of resources out from Boom. They drop doubled sentries to look for that Obs ward. They don't get the gold back as well with a deny from SMG. So Skem's going to be a little bit on a budget here on his lane, helping out Jackboys, of course, and Dusa. They are going to be up against Afu and Raging Potato on the Spirit Breaker and on that Shadow Demon. That lane is going to be pretty hectic, right? Like, level 1 might not be the best for Raging Potato. He's holding on to whether or not he wants the Basher to charge. But once you hit level 2, once you hit level 3, especially on Shadow Demon, the damage output of that lane skyrockets. And I think Skem's going to have to work double time to ensure that the Shadow Demon's not going to be able to sneak up and just get to his Shadow Poisons, get the Disruption off, because that's going to be dangerous for Jackie. Dusa is durable, but not in the first 3 levels, I'd say. Even by level 4, it's still kind of nebulous. You really do want to ensure Jackboys can just focus on that form.
I thought very sure it was going to be the SB Tusk combination, but I mean, I suppose Arthur would rather be down to the bot lane just so he can start stacking the triangle for his Morphling, and of course the left rack as well by Mooners. We'll see how that pans out as top lane, of course. You've got Tim's right now chasing down Roger on that Tusk. He's going to be there with mid 1 and FBZ. John, this top lane, do you give it to one way or the other in terms of the hero matchups?
I think it's a lot more aggressive out from Boom. You can already see Tim's just knocking away at Roger. Still level 1, no snowball saves, no ice shard to kind of cut off. Does force out the arrow, but he's way low. Out of regen on Roger, so he might just look for a deny. His courier is coming in, but it's a tough time. You are giving mid 1 a lot of room in the sense that Tim's isn't harassing him out, and there's only so much FBZ can do in the laning phase. But I don't think this is a very easy lane for the Morphling. Like, FBZ should still be able to find a farm he needs to, especially once the boards are up to level 2. And Tim's is just doing a great job of ensuring that Logic can't really achieve much in lane. Like, as a pause 5, Tusk still wants a lot of EXP. He still wants to get that levels up, and he's just being zoned out so hard that he's not going to find that.
Absolutely not. Very tough time already as bot lane. There's a bit of a chase here onto Skem. 3 Shadow Poison stacks, so one more might be able to do it. Afu is going to be able to land the 4th. He wants another though, just to make sure he's got it. A very nice first one achieved by Afu. And Raging Potato immediately just going to charge right back in onto the lane. That's the kind of start you want for SMG, especially with this kind of aggressive draft. You want kills very early on.
They're already just starting to pressure mid as well. They make that movement down block, they grab Roger in mid, they give him a little bit of relief. We are seeing Yopaj up CS, so he is reaching out to the election. You've seen this matchup a couple of times here, and like, you get to clear out the wave a lot easier on Yopaj for the Tidebringer. You're not too worried about trading mana usage, which is much more important for Moon. He does have his level 4 up, so 2-0-2 as we tend to see. And if you do get hit by that split trip, it is pretty painful. But I think this is the one lane for Boom right now that's coming out on top. Just Yopaj controlling mid, getting the farm he needs. If he does get the boat up at a good point, I think you can expect that Funka to either call for a rotation or look for a rotation himself and look for a pickup.
One of the things we didn't really talk about either, John, but this is kind of a battle with the CEOs between Moon and FBZ. Naturally, they aren't really laning against each other right now, but later on, the CEOs will go to war to see who is the better CEO. Moon right now is having a decent time, but against the Kunkka, it's a very tough time. Naturally, you don't tend to lose on Kunkka. Moving on top though, Roger. Try and pop the tag team, but he's getting sniped here by the balls, and Tims will just knock back off. In fact, we've got the lead chance, so he might keep going, but a nice snowball away. It may not be enough though. Roger is still trying, but Tims is able to follow up and secure a kill for himself. As you mentioned, this top lane just proving to be very difficult so far for SMG.
Yeah, and you've already got level 4 for FBZ, so while Tim's trades Roger, FBZ can just focus in on mid 1, just keep applying board pressure. Mid 1's still finding good farm, though 21-7. It's not like he's lagging too far behind. and you are getting some decent aggression out to the pause ones of both ends. I think the offlaners are having a much better time this game, as Jackie's also kind of held back on his Dusa. But he is also still up there in CS, so despite that slower start for him, despite losing his support, Jackie is actually finding farm. Spirit Breaker just doesn't have much laning presence. I mean, you kind of want to run up, get some batches off, but Deuce is a ranged hero. She has a pretty good nuke and a Mystic Snake as well, so coming up to her can be punished quite nicely. I think Scam's done a great job of just ensuring that Jackie is, just focused in on that farm. It feels like the pacing of both sides from the pause one's going to be the same, just kind of sitting back, farming up. You might see the Morphling up a bit faster with, say, an E-Blade timing, but the Deuce is going to take all the time this game to build up, and I think for Boom, that's leading to this much more passive safe lane, but it's exactly what you want out of this lane anyway.
Both lanes, at least safe lanes, look very passive right now. You see mid one top the network, or rather the CS score at the moment. Having a fantastic time as mid lane. Someone isn't having a fantastic time. He connected with an arrow. But it won't matter because the boat does not like. Oh, never mind. Japoy. What a Tidebringer hit out from the Kunkka. I didn't think he was even facing him there, but he got the angle.
It's that timing we were talking about, Mike. Real Fudge, when he hits 6, gonna call for a rotate in, gets things up, got the arrow combo, and still.
Yeah, they're chasing down Skem right now, getting those shadow poisons, but Raging is copying a fair bit of damage to R2. Able to secure the kill, Raging. Good boy, Dire Fiddle's gonna be able to TP out, and R2 even gets himself out now. The creep just blocks the way for Jackie. He could just not catch a break in that tree line.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Does force a lot of resources out from SMG. Self-salve out on Afu, already out of mana, so you can't really do much with, say, Shadow Poison at this point. I think you'll take that trade if you're Boom. Yeah, you're losing Scam. That line's gonna have a really late blink timing here, but it's kind of playing pause 5. He's being the sacrificial lamb for the slaughter here on Boom, and he's enabling Jackie to still focus in on that farm. Mind you, SMG still getting more, but you're going for a play on mid now.
Snowball. Be able to dodge that X-Back into the torrent, but Tim is going to just tank the Snowball, get an arrow, and that's going to be an easy kill onto Roger. 3-2 so far, slight net worth lead for Boom Esports, but still a very close game between these two. Yeah, we've already kind of mentioned this though, that as SMG, you do kind of rely on a good start. Sure, you can rely on mid one later on that Morphling to be able to carry you through the game, but at least for the rest, you are looking to get aggressive rather soon. Let's see when SMG does decide to do so, but I'd say Moon on that left track, Johnny, he has not had the best time.
He's pretty far behind. The main matchup just didn't go so well. Yopaj just managed to take control, as we've seen Kunkas do against Letrax when he managed to work that matchup. I think the worry now for SMG is that we expected much stronger lanes coming out from them, and yeah, they're finding kill spot, but they're only finding kills onto Scam, really. Everyone else, they've been losing some cores here and there. They lost that mid rotation. We haven't seen them really focus in on using Roger very well, and this is where the hurting point for the Tusk comes out. It's a pause 5 Tusk. We saw him completely zoned out in lane. He's still stuck at level 3 here now. He has 1 point in Snowball, 1 point in Tag Team. He doesn't have the shards. He's still kind of holding on to see if level 4 comes out. But at least he has level 2 Tag Team up with the shards and the utility. But it feels like that early aggressive spike we were looking for from SMG is kind of fading away as we reach the 10-minute mark. It's still early in the game. That momentum needed to be set up from SMG in the get-go, and as it devolves into a bit of a farming game, this is where Boom feels a lot comfier, because Jackie's already playing in that bot jungle. It's very secure, he has good wards, they're building up the triangle. Once he clears that out with no contestation, SMG's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Chances are you aren't going to really be able to keep up with the Medusa, even as the Morphling, you just don't have that crazy button catch with mid lane. Arrow going to be off the moon, and the boat following so much damage. They've lost moon already. They're going to try and kill Scam and maybe fight more, as Tims is still fighting. Raging needs to back himself out, but Roger and Arthur have joined in. And Roger now copying so much damage away from this Kunkka. Going for a Roshan deny attempt. Snowball is there. Yopaj going to back off and try to get himself out now with the pick out. Now in the meantime, Tims is still chasing. Raging Yopaj. He is still going to try and go back in after Arthur and survive through all this damage. But Arthur, he will go out of this ball. It's just not enough for Yopaj. He will walk away scot-free, and 3 hero wins drop for SMG.
That's massive commitment coming out from both ends to try to find these kills. Boom just had so much more control. SMG's response was a bit more staggered here. We weren't quite close enough on Afu to get a good disruption save early on. The Snowball was popped early as well, so the saving potential we were talking about from the draft isn't quite coming out. And they're just not playing around that aspect, and Boom's punishing them for that. Like, Jackie's just farming up. They go for a smoke with everyone else. Tim's, Scam, Yopaj right there. Level 9 on Yopaj. Looking at this Kunkka compared to his support, he's had a great time here. You don't even have finger up the
That's a massive kill out onto Moon. If they can secure it, I think they just have. Moon is just not tanky enough to survive. Moon raiding on that very, very well. Even looking for raging, and a heavy will come out. Scam does catch him. Don't fight to follow up, though. Roger is trying to move in to try and save the Moonlight Shadow. Just to make sure they can't even be seen throughout all this. Roger is still trying to save raging, but they completely ignore it for now. But never mind, they'll go back to the task. They just don't have enough to finish off raging for KO. But it means not only do they get that mid-match track, but they'll find a support task. And it just seems like they're reading SMG like a reading emoji, like a book at the moment.
Oh man.
SMG, and we're starting to see some of those saves come in. At the least, you don't lose more by losing Raging Potato. But that early momentum is slipping away from them. They are going for a smoke play here on SMG's side. They've got Afu and Moon ready to go, so maybe a nice rotation up onto FBZ. They've got good setup with the disruption to stun, or even the Jack Boys might be targeted here with a charge out. Do you have a disconnect from Scam? And we were having a bit of a conversation, Mike. We know Boom's not in the team house. Gary's kind of let them go home, you know, enjoy their break, be with family. I've seen Scam, I've seen Andre complain about his internet in Cebu. So this is gonna happen a couple of times here, Mike.
That's okay. It's look, I understand, Jonathan. I mean, I had a tree attack my internet, so it's okay. I appreciate Scam's internet issues. Gary, of course, I was gonna bring up Gary, Jonathan, because now that he's brought Jackie on board, I think I'm sure Gary has a stack of iPhones ready already, but poor old Gary just can't catch a break. He's gonna have to buy another iPhone here for Jackie.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's gonna join in on the crowd if they start winning. No, that's the one thing for Boom. Gary needs them to win first.
Right.
And they are having a great start, 9-3, up against SMG's lineup, who we thought would have really strong lanes. Didn't just come out, and I think this is good news for Boom. Although, you gotta watch Jack Boys here. If he does get picked off, that could be a bit painful. Do you have a couple of replays coming up here as well?
No.
Or not? That
No.
tooting issues right now, which is fine.
Well,
You're stuck.
Let's be honest, John. This is Neff Sensei's fault. I mean, it's Neff's first day on the job and he's already screwing up. Classic Neff Sensei right here. Just can't get the replays working. We'll have a chat with him later, John. I think we've got to do a bit of a performance review with Neff. Have a talk about his paychecks. Maybe just have a bit of a renegotiation. I think.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Pitkin's doing his best as well, so we can always blame Neff. Thank you, Neff. Love you. Still, hopefully Scam's internet issues. Just to clarify again, if people weren't aware, there was a massive typhoon in December that flew by Cebu, so we'll have to see if they can kind of sort it out. It's actually good. Scam even has internet, but lots of parts of Cebu have been up and down with electricity, even with water, so this is bound to happen, and yeah, just a bit of a break in the chaos here, Mike.
With that break, Jonathan, have you had merienda today? I love asking you this question.
I've had lunch. It's still a bit early for merienda. I'm not sure what I will have for merienda. We did have, say, hamonado, which is just like glazed pork and some ampalaya, bitter gourd with egg with some rice. So a nice simple lunch. I don't know if I'd have that again for merienda. I'm still feeling the need to have either some pancit or indomie because of last night. I never cooked it up. I know Wami said he'd cook me some, he never did, and I didn't make any myself. So I'm wondering if it's worth a trip down to the pantry, break out the kettle, heat some water up, and make some pancit, good old-fashioned way. How about you, John? What do you?
How about me? I have tuna mornay, John. It's very I don't know. I don't want to say it's a great dish. It's a rather depressing dish. It's just tuna and pasta baked up in the oven, but it does taste all right. It's a bit creamy.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Is it like tinned tuna, or like do you buy an actual fish and shred it yourself? I don't know.
Who do you think I am, John? I can't go for a whole tuna. Of course, it's canned tuna, Jonathan.
Well, you did say you got your wife an apartment for her birthday. So I don't know. I don't know you anymore, Mike.
I got her a penthouse, Jonathan. Right? Don't undersell
There
me like
you go.
that. I got a penthouse, and I didn't buy the literal penthouse, Jonathan. I rented it out for her birthday. People literally assumed I bought her an apartment like I was some millionaire that just decided to cast Dota for a living for fun. No apartment, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I still don't know why I'd buy her an apartment if I'm casting out of the shed, John. It makes no sense.
You want the best for your wife, and you you tough it out. You rough it out in the woods, Mike. That's good. You've told me already. You've had some birds trying to fly in. For some reason, you mentioned dragonflies. Like, that's scary. Are dragonflies scary in Australia, Mike? Are they?
Well, they don't attack you, but they do go a little bit crazy, follow each other. You have a swarm of dragonflies coming in your window at once, John. I'd say that is kind of concerning. Definitely not the scariest thing in the world.
Why would they swarm? I've seen dragonflies. I played with them. I picked them up and put them on my finger, but why would they swarm around? I just understand. You watch YouTube me now. Beautiful. Why would swarm?
I don't know why they swarm. Maybe not dragonflies. Maybe wasps. It's not my job. We're not very serious. Not my language. Except the I call it. For you guys, so we can't meet again. I mean, he was here last time and they had to scrim, and now he's free, and I'm sick. Just our luck, Mike. We can't even hang out with your boy. What a life you live, John Expire. I mean, pro players are asking you, like they're reminding you, hey John, we had a scheduled dinner. Can you show up now? You get to tell them, I'm sorry, I'm busy right now. I will have to rebook another day. Call my agent, get another day, get another time. Poor old Yapaj's parents. They're probably watching right now, John. Shout out to Japoya's parents out there if you are watching. Apologies about John not showing up yet, but I promise I'll try to push him. I have advised Jonathan to bring flowers as well. Get a chocolate. Be nice, Jonathan. You've got it, you know. First time over, you gotta be nice to the parents. Impress the parents.
Very comfortable are you?
You gotta bring a good pasalubong. That's what we say, Mike. A good gift. Yeah, pasalubong. It's just a gift. Like we've got this culture in the Philippines where if you're coming from outside, from the house, you bring something back. You bring a gift. You bring a pasalubong, and you bring like donuts. You bring a snack, something. I don't know why we do it. It just causes us to get really fat, but we do it. So you know, you got to bring something home. You got to bring something as a guest, and it's just what it is. Some food would be nice. I'll see what Yopaj likes, what he's allergic to, what his parents like. You know, that fun time would be a fun time. He's not too far off. Like I think I've mentioned before, I'm like in the Matina area in my city, and he's like in some place called, I think, Puan, which is like 3 kilometers away. So be careful, Jonathan. You're gonna it's a general area. General areas. These are very big areas. You do not understand how big my city is. I hear people used to say by land area, my city's about the size of New York, which I don't believe, but it is pretty big. Like the city proper is pretty damn big. So it'd be hard pressed to find a specific home there. I think that's general knowledge for like, people around that area. So it's fine, I'm sure. If it's not fine, Yopaj knows where to find me to beat me up. I'm sure he can get that done just fine as well. All things considered.
I hope you do. I almost want you to stream the dinner so we could all enjoy it. But obviously we weren't invited, and me and the viewers, that is. God forbid they invite me for once. X5, the big superstar, on the front page of Twitch. There you were yesterday when we were casting, acting as if you missed me, Jonathan. But I was secretly watching you the whole time, and you were saying some terrible things about me, saying I'm too good for you, being a snob. You're saying you're looking forward to just never having to cast with me again.
Well, you know, it's just that you look like a rock star now, Mike. How can I sit next to a rock star like this? Like we were talking about. No, we were talking about you know, going emo, putting on the eyeliner, holding concerts and stuff, and I think you just look too good on stage. You know, I can't sit next to a light shining that bright Mike. I like the background. You know, I'm a background guy. I like being left alone. Like,
don't. You're a superstar. I've seen your 700. Not that you were playing Dota, by the way, Jonathan. We won't talk about what you were playing at the time. You weren't playing Dota. Let Gaben know about that, see what your chances are at TI 11 this year, but still, we are hopefully going again very soon, as it looks like we do finally have a bit of a reconnection on the way, so good news, everyone. You don't have to listen to us too much longer, and in fact, never mind. We are into the game, thankfully.
Yeah, it's back to it. They do cancel off that gank onto Jack Boys, and they are starting to flank around FBZ. So the smoke's still here, Mike. They find this kill. This could set them up for a bit of a push here as well.
Got the help of the Dominator on the surface. He's got plenty of damage, but Murphy is going to move in along with our full setup. But great split of the stun. That should be still your pass. He's being charged at the moment. But can they actually fight him? He's a tanky boy right now, but the charge is going to fly right in. Arrow, not going to land on mid one. He's alright, he's surviving, and he'll strike morph out of there. As the only person, they're going to lose the FBZ and Schem, but for SMG's sake, everyone gets out scot-free.
And that's a great trade for SMG. This is some of that aggression we were looking for from their lineup. Just wanting to jump around, get the setups off, get that burst off. They're reaching the levels to get that done. We're almost at 6 for Roger, so soon the Walrus Punch is going to be in play as well. And mid one just has a lot of good heroes to turn into from the opposing side. We saw him turn into the line. Just having the Earth Spike, having the Hex makes it a lot harder for you to bump up here on a Boom and counterfight. But once you get these getting out from these engagements is that Jack Boys is free to farm. Just took triangle, he was uncontested, whereas you have to drag him mid 1% of that fights, and he's missing out on a lot of farm. Like Jack Boys is at 7.3k, about 2 or 1k ahead now. A good margin on that Lisa, and that's just set to build up. Almost at the Manta, going to the Scotty next. Got that
Your
Scotty.
admiral is on board.
First down would say even.
Middle tower's under attack. Oh, Rick! He's dominating now! He's dominating! Dire's top tower's under attack.
Ooh, bounty!
Dire's top tower's under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant just fortified their structures. You know what I'm talking about?
Your admiral is on board.
You know, Morty, it sometimes feels like they don't even care. Under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is fallen.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Jesus, this is some wicked sick stuff, Rick, because he just wicked sick it. That's right. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yes.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Uh-oh, monster kill. Watch out. Oh, heads up. Up for me.
Really hitting into gear now. They just have so much stuns, so much great combinations to set up for the arrows, and they're really durable up front. Like you've got a Kunkka and a Beastmaster, so you can just run forward, kill Knuckles and Beastmaster in the air, but they're finding everyone else. It takes a lot of commitment out from SMG, and they don't have enough damage yet to really get going. I think the big issue now is just Zane's farm. He only has the Yules. Doesn't have Kaya, doesn't have anything to amplify his damage, doesn't have the speed to really run around and fall through the Spirit Breaker ASAP. And that just holds him back. Blue now taking that into tier 1 will go straight into the roach. Very early time for Jack Boys to show up here. But just for the Yasha Dragonlance, he does have a decent amount of stats. I think they're just comfortable enough to play with that, to play the save on the boat and all the control they have, and just can constantly force the issue. SMG though, they saw that move in, they are smoked off, they are set to come take a fight here again.
Can they fight? Both ultimates right now for Bloom are going to be on cooldown very soon, and again they're going to try and focus down Skim with Roger, but they're not going down onto the target. He got an arrow on Thor, now raging. He'll charge back in, but the Earth Spike and the X are both going to drag him right back to the depths of the river. Now Boom Esports will just happily go back into the Roshan pit. They just can't be contested right now.
And that's a great read from him to back off 1 by 1. They knew something was up when they didn't see SMG just managed to retreat, bait him in, turn the fight around again, and get some good punishment. Now you have to deal with 2 lives up on Jack Boys, and he's already very durable once more. 2 lives, I don't know if you have enough damage just yet on SMG. They definitely feel like they don't. Like mid 1 is now saving up for the ads on Morphling. Still a ways off from that 4.2k item. And until then,
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Moon's in trouble again, John. He's desperately trying to catch up and bring himself back into this game. Yules off Tim's. And Darrow going to be on the mark.
Your Admiral is on board.
Would these force the rotations in from the supports of SMG? Get something done here, though. You've got your path around. Try and focus him down, but it's not an easy target. He's got BKB up already. So he can just come right back in. Again, charging on him, but he's been caught out. He's going to save and roll the boat, but for how long? Run his way away. Boom Esports will try and force a fight. Takes it there, man, in onto that Spirit Breaker, into the torrent, and that might just be enough to go. Breaking through the box, your hard right, you want a danger. Double kill, I know. That'll be a second. He lands the arrow. Can you smell it?
He's dominating, Rick.
So I don't think it was too bad of a team fight for SMG, but they end up losing mid 1. And that's a pretty big deal here for the Dire.
And they lose mid 1 to these numbers. Jack Boys gets to pick up a couple of those kills himself. Sure, you're dropping your pod, you're dropping FBC in exchange, but your pod's once living through all these fights. He still holds on to the Aegis. He's gonna get a faster Scott timing off of those kills as well. I think that's a bigger concern for SMG. Yeah, you're keeping your pods down, but you have to worry about this Dusa as well. Jack Boys is allowed to build up the way he wants to, and points the angle every time.
Destroyed.
Fantastic snare there, but Arthur was around to disrupt. You just spoke about Jackie, John. He's 4k ahead of mid 1 right now. 19 minutes in. And he has been rather active on this Medusa recently. Going back into that top lane, probably to the triangle. And things, again, very scary for SMG, because you're already going to have a difficult enough time dealing with this Medusa later on. But if you're not even ahead of Medusa, things just become that much more complicated for SMG. And you look at mid 1, he's just working onto that Aghanim Scepter right now to have that double charge combination. But even then, I don't know if that'll prove to be enough.
Yeah, it's still gonna lack damage. It's a good amount of control. I think you're still relying a lot on Moon to get the DPS off. It does have a Kaya Song with some amplification, some stat resist. But it does feel like the sustain from Moon is overwhelming, especially if they get a good boat off. So they've got to watch that. The early BKBs are stalling out these fights while allowing Moon to retake position, drag Jack Boys in, pick up the angle, and kind of run from there. They're trying to slowly
Oh
push
man,
at
what?
that tier
Get
1
up on
mid.
out of here,
Maybe
because
left.
Radiant just
You
fortified
are
their
aware of that, and you can kind of scout around as well.
I wonder what they're gonna build.
Taking a fair bit of damage, but he's got the BKB up to use. They try again on the skill. They do get the line to start. A nice start to this fight for SMG, but now the rule is run by FBZ into the road and the turret, but a nice disruption from Arthur to save. SMG now surely can take down this
Radiant's
T1
middle
mid
tower
tower.
is under attack.
Still trying to go after FBZ.
Gee, Radiant's
Into
middle tower
the
just got wrecked.
charge now from Raging. They should be able to get another kill here for the Dire, and they do. What are the see from SMG, but can they keep it up? Well, they will. They've got Tims. But they even
Radiant's
down
middle tower is under attack.
I'm not sure if they'll really commit to this. It looks like they're going to try. They've got the sun down, but Jackie still has the Aegis and the Stone Gate that will pop both. That'll be enough for him to be able to walk his way out of there. SMG finally finding a little bit of success in a team fight. They do end up getting that tier 1 mid.
It's a big win for SMG. They managed to punish moves. They're kind of stacking up. They managed to get the good saves off. Offense positioning is getting a lot better in these fights. So they've got to somehow handle that disruption from the Shadow Demon. I think that's going to be the key target for Boom in getting these engagements off. They have to stop the Shadow Demon from getting saves. The snowball save is still an issue as well from Roger down the line, but without the blink, that's harder to pull off. So you have to watch that back line of SMG. Boom's got to find a way to scout out Shadow Demon, use those Hawks to their advantage, and try to force that issue first before taking the bigger course. The BKBs coming out from SMG are also stalling out a lot. BKB and Raging's making it hard to burst him down with the X-Torrent combinations he wants to pull off on Yopaj. And this is giving SMG sort of their second win. Their power spike is coming out. Aegis does expire in the end from Jack Boys, so they don't have to worry about that second life any longer. And this is where you might be able to really pin down Jack Boys if he oversteps. They've got to watch the angle now when you go aggressive. They will smoke up on Boom though. Kind of want to trust the fight from SMG this time.
Lucian Rune may have made it very obvious that they are smoked, but they just want to head into that triangle. Make sure mid-1 is not farming that area. Really want to force the fight again, so they're going to head over to the left side of that Dire jungle into Arfu. Tim's already has that Yule's up. He's set up a really nice arrow for himself. That will at least allow them to get something. In the meantime, however, mid-1 does have the Ags up. And this is when things can get very, very fun for the more. But I think he might still be a little bit too far behind to really be able to make maximum
Oh
use
boy,
of that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Not quite yet. I mean, the Scribbler
Dire's
control
middle
is still
tower just
strong.
took a big
I think
beating.
we need some
Gone.
stronger follow-through from Raging
Radiant's top
Potato as well.
tower
He's
is under
getting his own
attack.
Ags, so you have the same marching pace in. They are collapsing on top of Roger, though, but they don't quite see him, and they don't quite see Moon as well.
Very close to the torrent though.
Step lively now.
Off the
Your
mark,
admiral
taken
is
out.
on board.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Hold the map right now in Boom Esports. 2K ahead, but there is going to be a smoke now from SMG. Just wanting to try and go for that surprise reveal with the Aghanim Scepter. Tims to break the smoke, but he can leap right away as they just cannot see him. Behind him, but pass right through. Right through Jackie. It's the skip. They found the line, and that's going to get one. The boat will come in. The Panther is that big one. With the finger. Skip. He will finally drop it. They did it. Stone Gaze almost slowing him down enough. Go back in onto the ball for mid-1. He's just ignoring everybody else and just going after the supports.
Double
He's going to go down. Raging, still being chased down here by Yopaj, does also get taken out. So even though it looked like a nice start for SMG, it still proves to be too much of a team fight here for them.
And they focus very hard on supports.
Radiant's
Phillips can
middle
force the
tower is
buyback
under
on
attack.
Tims, but Boom are happy
Dire's
enough
top
to get that
tower is
trade.
under
This will
attack.
enable them to go high ground. Respawns aren't too far off though, so it's not going to be the safest push. They're probably not going to find much beyond just poking on the high ground here, but a win's a win. Boom get to keep building up on Jack Boys. He's showing up to these fights. The Ags charge on mid-1 with a follow-up for Norwegian is strong, but again, they need a little bit more. They're working towards a BKB now on mid-1. To stay that
boy,
edge, to
killing
allow him
spree.
some safety up front, and that could kind of make a difference. Good dieback find on Tims, though. That's going to set Boom back quite a fair bit. They're going to have to wait a long time for Tims to be back up. They're going to be on the defensive while this is down.
Only that, but the net worth lead that they had on Boom is suddenly just not there anymore. That's the 1K advantage. Nothing right home about it. They even done
bottom tower is under attack.
That's 2 heroes down for 45 seconds without buyback. So SMG, they might be able to focus down another tower.
Radiant's
Either
middle
in the
tower
mid
is
or
under
the
attack.
bot lane. No, they want to try and fight again. Charge will be there, raging though, maybe going a bit too fast. They're going to like with the shards out, the Jackie's going to protect with the stone gaze. Through they go. At least get a shadow demon. That'll be one. I think SMG might be forced to just back off now, but mid one does morph into the Spirit Breaker. But he is just going to go ahead and charge his way out. Not too interested in trying to force this fight without that Shadow Demon. Still, I mean, all things being said and done, SMG finding 2 great pickoffs.
Step lively now. Your
And
admiral
that
is
one
on
play
board.
just being closed down now between these 2 teams. It suddenly looks like a very close game.
Yeah, it's very back and forth. I think Boom has been taking some pretty big losses when they drop. They've only been finding some of the supports now. It's been harder and harder to kill off. It's been harder and harder to kill off mid one. The Ags up. I think that's going to be something they need to work on. Damage output of Jackie isn't at its maximum peak yet. They're also kind of lagging behind damage from Yopaj. He is going for the Ags next, and they find a DD to go into the Roche. Good scan from SMG does tell them doing. Let me be in a position to try and force a fight here first.
Mid-one tried to reinitiate, but doesn't want any part of it. What do they got? Disruption, they run after. He is dropping real fast quick, but he gets the purge out in time. It just won't mean anything. In fact, they got the ball now. They might have a tie back onto Roger. He's also artifact that double stun out of DPC. He might be the shutdown. But how do you do with this Medusa? Jackie pops his stone gaze. Acting on the left track they go. They want moves out. They might just have it, but no. The blink away is there. So instead it's back in on the mid one with the Hex out scam. He does lock him down long enough. It looked like a nice turn for SMG, but just not good enough in the end.
They bailed out. I mean, I think that's the right move for me to just immediately jump out, but mid one was stuck. So to make a sacrifice, they use the bigger core to save the Lesh, and that will open up Roche now for Boom. Force another buyback out from Scam this time around. But again, Boom doesn't mind. They're buying back and supports to turn these fights around to ensure they've got the follow-up control they need. And yeah, they're dropping FPZ again, but he still manages to get the ward before dying. He's managing to force all the stuff onto him and opening up that angle for Jackal for Yopaj. Of Yopaj now as well, so you've got the tidal wave ready to go. More repositioning spells, much harder for SMG to fight into that now. I think for SMG, the big thing they've got to worry about are these BKBs going on in 6 seconds now. It's only 6 seconds for Raging Potato to do what he needs to do in the middle of the fight. You could argue it's the same here for Yopaj down to 6. I think it's a little bit scarier to have to fight into a Kunkka with a tidal wave eventually with the Ags as well. With a Forest Storm, with such low BKBs. We already know that's like the second spike for a Kunkka in the late game when you've got the Ags and the Shard. And Yopaj is going to hit those spikes really early in this game.
Afu just trying to split push that bot to rejoin his team. Ags up, so they're going to go for the 5-man smoke reveal. Line's being drawn out around the Dire jungle, so teams think that Dire triangle is occupied right now by a jungle.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
In esports, they'll be the first ones to walk in.
Hey,
A long way to run right into the corner with the charge out. This would be a great way to start the fight. BKB will be there, but they still just lock him down further and further. With now the shard trying to trap him up and blocking him up. In fact, the Foreign Storm going to be committed here by Yopaj.
thanks to you.
SMG, however, completely avoided. Not quite the team fight they're interested in committing for.
Whoa, Dire's
They
bottom
just wanted
tower
to
is
pick
under
up before they
attack.
fully commit. Like Raging? Oh, he sees Skem. Every time he sees Skem, he sees red. Just wanting to charge that line and make sure he's dead throughout this team fight. They aren't going to be able to get him this time around.
But look where Jack Boys was that entire
matter
time.
with
He's
you? You
shoving
just-
in the bot tier
Dire's
2.
bottom tower
His team joins him.
destroyed.
He's getting so
Radiant's
much
middle
farm.
tower is
His
under
Ags is
attack.
only 2 parts away. About 1,000 gold away.
Jeez, Morty, they're going after Dire's
Not too
bottom
far
tower.
off. Until Ardusa's also fully geared up. Has the silver edge up for some crit, good break. And now they can begin that siege. They've got to do something about this Musa.
We go the target hit from mid-one. He'll get started. You've got to worry about that Aegis move. He clocks an arrow. It's a 5-second arrow on back with Afu. We'll say with the disruption in the backside. They're trying to jump that line again, but Samantha needs to find that guy who comes the Hex out SMG, they tried. Jackie is just too big to deal with at the moment.
Boy, there's some angry people beating
And
up on
Boom
Dyer's
Esports
bottom
will rush
barracks.
onto that bottom racks.
They push really fast with that. The Overlord up with the damage coming through from Jack. They
Dyer's
could go
bottom
for more than one set of
barracks.
racks here.
Dyer's
This spawns
bottom
on
barracks.
Visibility. But the push
They've
is
seen
just so
better
quick
days.
that SMG are going to lose a lot more in this high ground than they'd want to. And you know what? The big factor here is all that control coming out from Boom. They've got so much from the line. They've got so
Dyer,
much
gotta fortify
from the
their
Kunkka,
structures.
from the Beastmaster. SMG, they only really have
Dyer's
basically
middle barracks
Raging
are getting
Potato to
plunged
start,
into a
and
sea of
maybe a
abuse.
follow-up split early
Oh,
from Boom.
Radiant's top
It's
tower
just
is
not
under
enough.
attack.
Disruption you want to
Dyer's
save
middle barracks are
as a saving spell.
disappeared.
It's nice, but you're not catching enough
Oh,
of
no,
the
Dyer's middle
Even
barracks
the
are
follow-up
gone.
damage again is just lacking from SMG, and Boom are actually going to stay for another set of racks. They're going to go for the mid creep. They still have
Dyer's
8%
top tower is under attack.
And they'll not. Meanwhile, Moon, he
Radiant's
does play
top
out the
tower is
hope
under
of the
attack.
but that's left them without buyback goal. The last effort here for SMG is they might just have to call the GG if they can't win this one out. Jackie's not backing.
Oh, Radiant's
The
top
Virgin
tower
off,
is under
Raging will
attack.
go to the charge into the backside onto FBZ, but he's going to get caught out. He doesn't have a way to protect himself from the BKB though. Again, he's just getting him. He's ready to get the heads on the line. And now they're pulled out to it with the turret. Morty, Sozan low, but not dead yet. He'll try to run, but he will just no way to get the spirit break up. After a go for a TPL, but Tim's inside the USF kills. They have one. He'll have to do this by himself. He'll take down your pass, but can he do it with the rest? Jackie's still just whacking away, and he's forced to run. But it's a 2v3 scenario. And it looks like Boom Esports are gonna have Megas coming up very soon. Stop it. He will charge back on that Musa. He's not gonna be able to slow them down that much.
Dyer's top barracks
There
are
goes the top
obliterated.
Boy, Radiant's
That'll be
got a bunch
Megas
of
now
mega
for Boom.
creeps.
SMG, they are still just trying to deal with the Aegis of Jackie, but they can't even get that. He is just way too
Dyer's
far
middle
ahead.
tower is under attack.
The mad thing about that set of fights there, Mike, is that Jack Boyce has had his Ags up in the backpack because he's out of slots. So you didn't even have to deal with a Mystic Stage bouncing around, turning into stone in that engagement. But it's going to be there for the next fight. Age is going to expire, a bit of a reset out for Jack Boyce. They already got all the objectives on the high ground. It's mega creeps for SMG. They do have decent clear with the charges coming out on mid one when he does have the Spirit Breaker form, and with Moon on the left track, they've got some good ways of holding back, but this is where the bleed out really ramps up. Boom is just so strong with all the control. It's Torrent Storms ripping through. And as we mentioned, these BKBs are down to 6 seconds. There's only such a small window for Raging to run up, for mid one to run up and do some damage as well. The mid one's BKBs a bit fresher. The fact is, you can cut everyone off with a Torrent Storm. You just have so much wide AoE control. You've got the Stone Gaze to force them away as well. You've got such great plays coming out from Tims and Scam with the arrows and Earth Spikes and the Hexes. And SMG are still stuck, mainly relying on charge, maybe a snowball here and there, but everything else is just to save. The disruption to save. The split Earth doesn't catch enough people out, and they're going to go and force this fight.
But Raging, he's going to worry about Scam as well. You've got an Aeon Disc now on that line, so it's not that easy to burst him down. In fact, the Hex is there anyway. Who else are they chasing? Mid one, he's been rolled up. He's trying to make his way over. They're still trying to get that line, but Scam is just so sneaky. He's still out of there. Now Raging, he's the one in trouble. It's tanky, or maybe not. Not with that tidal wave in the charge. He'll just try and charge his way out. Meanwhile, his charge, he does find mid one, but no one here. They'll go in onto Roger instead. He's still trying on that line, but Scam is just so sneaky. He will not give the opening away. That'll be one down for SMG. Not out of the game yet, but against Megas,
You don't have the
45.
sign.
It's very hard to see a victory here for SMG in this defense. We'll see if they can pull it off though. This time Scam will not have the Aeon Disc. But I think Scam is the least of your worries at this point if you are SMG. If Jackie gets onto T4 towers, how do you stop this man?
It's tough.
middle tower.
I think yes,
Right away, but it can't the chance to get the number on the scale. They have to line this time. They try to get something, but they're not bringing middle tower. The process and now Moon. He's been caught out. The car will be right there. Just the left, so just get the way out. Mid-one's the last remaining survivor. It will be buybacks from SMG to try one last time to defend this.
Dyer's middle tower is
Man,
Another attack.
You don't
He
do
can do
that.
absolutely nothing to help out his
Trouble.
team. They will take down the Spirit Breaker once again. The GG will be called by SMG. Game winning to go to the Boom Esports.
I expected a lot more early rushing out from SMG, and when we saw that grab, we saw the toss, we saw the Spirit Breaker, Chad being